iPhone 14 information is gaining momentum with new design and price leaks. Now a shock iPhone 14 upgrade has been revealed. The iPhone 14 is coming in 2022, almost certainly in September, and will arrive as a follow-up to the impressive iPhone 13 range. And while it's a way off yet, leakers have already begun revealing possible specs, and there are even unofficial renders of the phone online. As such, we have a surprisingly clear picture of the form the iPhone 14 range might take, though, this far from launch, we'd be extra skeptical, as there's plenty of time for things to change. But the rumors so far are promising, pointing to a completely new design for the iPhone 14 Pro, and iPhone 14 Pro Max, a totally new model, dubbed the iPhone 14 Max, and some significant camera upgrades. Size. iPhone sizes are changing in 2022, and Apple is eliminating the 5.4-inch iPhone mini, as it turned out to be unpopular with customers. After seeing lackluster iPhone mini sales, Apple is planning to focus on larger iPhone sizes for its flagship devices, and we're expecting to see a 6.1-inch iPhone 14, a 6.1-inch iPhone 14 Pro, a 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Max, and a 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Pro Max. Face ID. Since 2017, iPhones with Face ID have had a notch at the front, to house all the necessary equipment for facial scanning, but that's set to change with the launch of the iPhone 14. The 2022 iPhone 14 Pro models are expected to eliminate the notch, in favor of a new design. Rumors are a bit mixed right now, but it looks like Apple will go with some combination of a circular hole punch cutout for the camera, paired with a pill-shaped cutout to house the key Face ID components. The rear camera could also see a new design, with Apple introducing a thicker body that allows for the camera bump to be eliminated. If this pans out, the lenses, flash, and LiDAR scanner could sit flush with the rear glass, but we've only heard one rumor suggesting that this might happen. Some of the new iPhones may feature a titanium frame, and redesigned speaker and microphone grills are a possibility. Apple could also use a new vapor chamber thermal system that will keep the iPhone cooler, to minimize the impact of faster chips and 5G connectivity. New iPhones always include camera improvements, and the iPhone 14 is no exception. There will be improvements to the ultra-wide camera, and there's a possibility that Apple will introduce a periscope zoom lens that allows for much greater optical zoom, but it's still not yet clear if this will come in 2022 or 2023. The Pro iPhone models could also get 48-megapixel cameras and 8K video recording capabilities. New A-series A16 chips are expected, built on either a 3 or 4 nanometer process by TSMC. Each new chip iteration brings improvements in power and efficiency, and the A16 chip will be no exception. Apple is expected to use Qualcomm's Snapdragon X65 chip, which is the first 10 gigabit 5G modem with faster connectivity speeds and connectivity improvements. Alongside the X65, Apple is expected to introduce new satellite-based emergency features that will let users send texts in emergency situations and report accidents with no cellular coverage. Display. In its latest exclusive, the ELAC, Korea Electronics Industry Media, which has been on fire recently, reveals that Apple has secured next-generation OLED technology for iPhone 14 Pro models from Samsung. And the surprising part, Samsung didn't even include the tech in its new Galaxy S22 range. The tech in question is Samsung's M12 OLED material set, which comprises the red, green, and blue pixels dopant, host and prime elements in OLED displays. It brings improved display performance and color accuracy and, controversially, was skipped entirely by Samsung for its flagship S22 smartphones, in what the ELAC claims was a cost-cutting decision. No notch, and new Face ID hardware design. For at least some of the iPhone 14 models, Apple is working to eliminate the notch that houses the hardware needed for Face ID. The notch was a controversial design decision when it was introduced in 2017, and since then, it's changed little with the exception of the size tweak with the iPhone 13. Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo said in March 2021 that the 2022 iPhone models would not have a notch, and would instead adopt a hole punch design that's been popular on many Android phones. This hole punch will reportedly be a center-placed cutout that's for the front-facing camera. iPhone 14 hole punch feature. Since Kuo's prediction, there have been other rumors that have made the front design of the iPhone 14 Pro models a bit less clear. Leaker, Dylan, has said that rather than a hole punch design, the camera cutout, on the iPhone 14 Pro models, will be pill-shaped. Display analyst, Ross Young, has further clarified and said that he expects to see both a pill-shaped cutout and a circular cutout. The circular cutout will likely house the Face ID projector, and the pill-shaped cutout will include the front camera, Face ID infrared camera, and possibly other components. iPhone 14 mock pill and hole. Apple may also be planning to put some of the Face ID hardware under the iPhone's display, which will cut down on the sizes of the cutouts that are needed, and will leave more available screen space on the front of the device. Both analyst Ross Young and Bloomberg's Mark Gurman have said that Apple is working on an under-display Face ID solution, but there's a chance that it will not be ready for use in 2022 devices. Barclays analysts claim that Apple is planning to adopt a laser-based, time-of-flight architecture for Face ID that would allow for substantial changes to be introduced to the front-facing, true-depth camera array, and other rumors point to a unibody lens design for a reduction in the size of the front camera module. Pro Motion Display. There were early iPhone 14 rumors suggesting that all 4 iPhone 14 models coming in 2022 could offer Pro Motion displays with refresh rates up to 120 Hz, but it looks like that's not going to happen. iPhone 14 Pro 120Hz ProMotion Blue. Apple is likely to restrict ProMotion technology to the iPhone 14 Pro models, a move that display analyst Ross Young attributes to a lack of availability of the necessary displays. Young has made it clear that he believes 120 Hz refresh rates will remain an iPhone 14 Pro feature. Korean website, The Ilak, has said that at least one of the iPhone models coming next year will use a standard LTPS OLED display without 120 Hz ProMotion technology, which supports Young's statements. Analyst Jeff Pu has claimed that the feature will come to all iPhone 14 models, but he is not known for his reliability. Body design. The iPhone 14 models are expected to look like the iPhone 13 models, with the same flat-edge design, but in addition to the display changes, there will be updates to the body design. Leaker, John Prosser, claims that Apple will introduce a thicker chassis, with no rear camera bump. The lenses, LED flash, and LiDAR scanner, will allegedly be flush with the rear glass, for a non-protruding camera design that hasn't been used since the early days of the iPhone. Along with the flush camera, the iPhone 14 models could feature round volume buttons that look similar to the buttons from the iPhone 4 and iPhone 5 models, and redesigned speaker and microphone grills with elongated mesh cutouts rather than individual holes at the bottom of the device. Size options. There will be no 5.4-inch iPhone in 2022, because Apple is doing away with the mini line, following lackluster sales. The iPhone 13 mini will be the last of the mini phones, and going forward, Apple is expected to focus on larger-sized iPhones. We're expecting a 6.1-inch iPhone 14, a 6.1-inch iPhone 14 Pro, a 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Max, and a 6.7-inch iPhone 14 Pro Max, with the larger 6.7-inch iPhone replacing the mini model. Titanium. Apple's upcoming iPhone 14 models are also expected to come with a high-end, titanium alloy chassis design, according to an investor's report from J.P. Morgan Chase. Apple has used titanium for the Apple Watch, but this would mark the first time that the material has been used for an iPhone. Titanium is more scratch-resistant, and it's stronger than both steel and aluminum, plus it's more corrosion-resistant. Cooling. Starting in 2022, high-end iPhone models are likely to adopt a vapor chamber thermal system, which Apple is said to be aggressively testing. The VC thermal system will be required for the high-end iPhones, due to their stronger computing power and faster 5G connection speeds. There are already smartphones from companies like Samsung, Razer, and LG that use vapor chamber cooling technology, which is used to keep a device cooler when it is under heavy stress. It is unclear if the vapor chamber thermal system will meet Apple's high requirements, but Apple is working on improving it, and high-end models could adopt it in the near future. Lightning port. There have been rumors that Apple is aiming to remove the Lightning port from the iPhone for a portless design, with charging done over MagSafe, but it's not clear if that technology will be introduced with the 2022 iPhone models. At least some of the iPhones coming will continue to feature a Lightning port. Camera technology. All of the 2022 iPhones could see improvements to the ultra-wide camera, and there's a slim possibility that Apple will introduce periscope lens technology that could allow for optical zoom up to 10x. Other smartphone brands have already adopted periscope lens technology, but Apple has allegedly run into some issues because much of the technology is guarded by patents owned by other companies. Apple could license technology from a manufacturer like Samsung, or continue to work on its own solution. Unfortunately, it's not looking like periscope lens technology will be ready for release in 2022, and it could instead come in 2023, with the iPhone 15 models. Even if periscope lens technology is not ready for a 2022 launch, there are still telephoto lens improvements coming. Apple analyst, Ming-Chi Kuo, says that Apple will upgrade the telephoto camera from a 6-element lens to a 7-element lens. Kuo also believes that the 2022 Pro iPhone models will feature a 48-megapixel wide camera, which would be a major improvement over the current 12-megapixel camera and 8K video recording capabilities. The 48-megapixel camera in the iPhone 14 Pro models will also be able to take 12-megapixel shots, likely through a process known as pixel binning. Pixel binning merges data from multiple smaller pixels on the camera's image sensor into one superpixel for improved, low-light sensitivity. With this feature, the iPhone 14 Pro models may be able to take full 48-megapixel photos in situations with good lighting, but when lighting is poor, it will use the pixel binning process for a higher quality, 12-megapixel photo that takes advantage of the 48-megapixel lens. Kuo believes that the 8K video recording feature will allow iPhone recorded videos displayed on an 8K display or TV to provide a better user experience, and that this resolution will allow the iPhone to create videos and images more suitable for augmented and mixed reality devices like the AR and VR headset that Apple has in development for 2022. A16 chip. Every new iteration of the iPhone comes with an updated A-series chip, and for the iPhone 14, we're expecting Apple's A16 chip. The next generation A-series chip, designed for the iPhone 14, will reportedly be built on TSMC's NP4 process, which the company says is the third major enhancement of the 5nm family. RAM. According to analyst Jeff Pu, the iPhone 14 models will include 6GB RAM. The iPhone 14 Pro models could get up to 8GB RAM, based on rumors from the Chinese supply chain. Car crash detection. Apple is working on a car crash detection feature for the iPhone and the Apple Watch, which could come out in 2022. It will use sensors like the accelerometer to detect car accidents when they occur, by measuring a spike in gravitational force. When a car crash is detected, the iPhone or the Apple Watch would automatically dial emergency services to get help. Since it's planned for 2022, this could be a feature designed for the iPhone 14 models and the Apple Watch Series 8, though it's not likely to be limited to those devices. It will be an expansion of the fall detection feature that's in existing Apple Watch and iPhone models. Snapdragon X65 modem. The iPhone 14 models will use the Qualcomm Snapdragon X65 modem, which is the world's first 10-gigabit 5G modem and antenna system for smartphones. RF chip. Taiwan's Economic Daily News has suggested that Apple has ordered 5G radio frequency (RF) chips from TSMC, with Apple using its own technology instead of chips from Samsung. The chips are allegedly manufactured on TSMC's 6nm process, which offers a smaller package with lower power consumption. This could perhaps lead to better battery life when using 5G technology, along with support for Wi-Fi 6E. Satellite connectivity. The Qualcomm Snapdragon X65 enables some satellite connectivity features, and alongside the modem, Apple plans to implement satellite-based emergency features that will let users to send texts in emergency situations and report major emergencies in areas where there is no cellular coverage. Emergency message via satellite will allow users to text emergency services and contacts, using a satellite network, when there is no cellular or Wi-Fi signal available. It will be a new communications protocol, alongside SMS and iMessage, and it will feature gray message bubbles. Message length will be restricted. Another feature will let users report major emergencies like plane crashes and fires, using satellite networks. These features are still in development, and will launch in 2022 at the earliest. Wi-Fi 6E. The iPhone 14 is expected to feature Wi-Fi 6E connectivity, according to Apple analyst, Ming-Chi Kuo. Kuo says that Wi-Fi 6E will offer the high-speed wireless transmissions necessary for AR and VR experiences, and it is also expected to be used in the mixed reality headset that could come out in 2022. Wi-Fi 6E takes advantage of the 6 GHz band, in addition to the 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands, to increase bandwidth and cut down on interference, while also offering the performance boost and low latency provided by the Wi-Fi 6 specification. 2 TB storage? With the iPhone 13 Pro models, Apple added a new 1 TB storage tier, and rumors suggest that, with the iPhone 14 upgrade, Apple could increase that even further, to 2 TB. This rumor comes from a source that's not always accurate, however, so it should be viewed with some skepticism, until backed up by another more reliable source. No physical SIM slot. The iPhone 14 models may launch without a physical SIM slot, with Apple transitioning to an eSIM-only design. Apple is allegedly advising major U.S. carriers to prepare for the launch of eSIM-only smartphones by 2022, which suggests some iPhone 14 models may be the first to come without a SIM slot. With the iPhone 13, Apple provided some models without a nano SIM in the box, with cellular plans instead being able to be activated using eSIM. An eSIM allows for cellular plans to be added to a device without using a nano SIM. eSIM functionality is not available in all countries, so iPhones sold in some areas will need to continue to offer a nano SIM slot. In countries where SIM-free iPhone is available, it may be optional, with consumers still able to choose a version with a SIM. There are more than 60 countries that support eSIM, with a list available on Apple's website. iPhone 14 launch date. Apple is expected to introduce the iPhone 14 models at an event that's likely to be held in September 2022, if Apple follows previous launch timelines. Most iPhone events take place during the first or second week of September. Thanks for watching. Please remember to comment, like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification button for new videos.